what do you do? Rodtang Buakau.
Rodtang is a monk. He is a member of the Golden Horse Monastery. Search of deeper knowledge, and he's trying to serve his monastery, which has sent him to Mandelsbrotsberg to help uncover the disappearance of Sir Torque.
You can just say Beberg, by the way, if that's easier.
Beberg, we're gonna go with that because I will stumble over that for the next however long it takes. So yeah, he was sent to Beberg to help uncover the disappearance of Sir Torque. And while he hasn't been in Beberg long, so he's still getting to know some of the people and the villagers, figuring out how he can be of service. Because he is a monk, he is lawful neutral.
Okay. Well, you can see that everybody on the green is breaking up to go in their various directions after the pronouncements by Swanhild of the Green.
Mm-hmm. So after hearing the different opinions, knowing that Saberhold is through the pass, in Rodtang's opinion, that's probably not a good path to try to send someone through the pass where Justin the Unassailable might catch them and divulge or who that person is might divulge all their plans. So he thinks trying to go to Saberhold for help, probably not a good idea. And honestly, after listening to what Arda said, really didn't see any sense of consulting the gods to just understand who we're fighting. It seems like everyone knows it's Justin the Unassailable. And so Rodtang's first thought is he needs to get to know the different people in town to understand what their strengths are, what their weaknesses, and perhaps how they could be most helpful in the situation they find themselves in. For example, Arda and the carpenter, who I don't think was named, are used to making fences. Maybe we can make some fence posts to start filtering enemies to a single point, and maybe even, force them to dismount horses. So things like that, trying to go around the town, get to know each person and what they're good at.
Okay. You're going to go chase down Arda the blacksmith?
Sure. Let's start with Arda.
Okay. She's a halfling woman. She's got, a quiet strength to her. You catch up with her as she's leaving. She's carrying like a lantern in the night, heading back down the Greens Hill towards the rolling hills that'll lead to probably where her halfling hole is. And she just says, "Oh, hello. I think I've seen you around. The traveling monk, right?"
Yes, that is correct, Arda. I wonder if you might have a moment to further explain your thoughts to me on consulting the priests.
Yeah, can you walk and talk?
Of course.
Well, there is a lot of power in the gods and the gods' favor. Some say the gods can see the future and pass those pronouncements along. Not a lot of people are putting their faith in Cam, the goddess of nature, who I would say she's our patron deity here, the protector, and no one has thought to inform Valda Blackcloak. So who knows what we might find if we were to send someone. And honestly, in case of emergency, I think that taking the town out to Valda's church in the north would be a great emergency backup. Yeah, probably our houses would be robbed and maybe burned down, but houses can be rebuilt. Lives are gone when they're gone.
Would Rodtang know what the church is made out of? Is it like brick, or is it?
No, you haven't seen it yet. It's like a little hidden place in the north, and this is the first you've heard of it.
Tell me, Arda, do you believe Justin is aware of where this church is?
I don't think anyone that isn't from Mandelbrotsberg knows where the church is. It's set a ways away.
It sounds to me like if the village decides not to fight back, it may be a good place to hide, but at the very least, a place for the children, no?
She looks up at you and says, "Why would we fight him? I Look, I'm a blacksmith, and I'm going to be honest with you. You might be good with that stick, but not everyone has the kind of strength that you show to be able to beat opponents in armor with a piece of wood. All it takes is one guy with a sword, and, well, I think there's only 2 swords in this whole town. Armor, you're not going to find any. I'm working with whatever bog iron someone can bring up. I'm mostly nails and hammers kind of gal. Cooking ware. We're not. Maybe a couple spears, but little more than sharpened sticks with maybe a pointy end.
But are those not sufficient?
With no training in 3 days?
You would be surprised what people can accomplish in 3 days. However, your approach is noted. My goal is to gather feedback from the villagers because, as you saw, we came to no conclusion.
I put my faith in the gods, friend. I just wish everyone else here would do the same.
I understand. However, I do not know how the gods will save us if they burn our villages and possibly burn the church. That is a chance we must consider.
She puts a tiny, tiny little halfling hand on your left hand and says, "That's why you have to have faith. It is necessary for Cam to save us. She will."
Can bring us only so far, Arda. But I trust that you have enough faith for the both of us.
She smiles up at you. It's that kind of slightly condescending religious smile of someone who's about to say something like, "Bless your heart."
Yep. She's from the South all of a sudden trying to give me a real high compliment. Well, Arda, if things do not go the way we hope and plan, could I at least count on you to help craft some things for us in the effort?
I mean, wooden shields are made with nails. Yeah,
what you normally do with your fence posts, except with a pointed tip, something to help funnel.
You mean a spear?
Enemies.
I don't, make the wood part. You're gonna have to speak to somebody like a lumberjack around here.
So that is you'll consider it.
Look, I don't make fences. You understand that, right? I help people put their fences in place. And I give them the nails that they need in exchange for goods. You're asking me to work pro bono in a field I know nothing about.
I understand. And remind me again, the carpenter, his name or her name?
Johnson,
of course. Well, I hope we reach our decision before daybreak. Thank you, Arda.
I don't think we're likely to come to a decision ever, especially if you're relying on Hraffen.
The farmer?
Well, he does own the largest farm in the area. He's not likely to commit to anything. He likes waiting and seeing.
Does he not have possibly the most to lose here, seeing how I'm assuming they are his apples they would be taking?
Well, it's definitely the Sertorix apples, but apples are one thing. The bags of grain are quite another. A handful of apples is nothing compared to the harvest they're pulling in.
I see.
He's also got a horse and an ox, and that is quite a bit to lose. And there are rumors he's got plenty of handfuls of silver about. Look, friend, I'm telling you, I'll do what I can to help you out, but I have no material to work with. And if it comes down to it, I say we go to the church, and that's where I'll be. But you know what? Your idea to hide the child's there are a good one. I'll spend tomorrow going around and making sure all the children are ready to go with me.
I am glad we can see eye to eye on that.
Now they like me. I can see them eye to eye.
Well played. All right. Well,
Sounds like going off into the night.
How far away do all these people live? Are they like shouting distance?
Miles apart. It's a small
shit.
village. Yeah.
Okay. Miles. Okay. Well, then I guess I need to hurry up and try to catch someone else who's leaving.
You only had like a 7-minute conversation, 7 minutes of walking in a random direction. Is there someone else you really critically want to talk to?
Debating either Swanhilde or Carol.
Well, Carol will be at the end, so pretty easy go to.
Okay, so she's not going for it. Then I'll try to catch Swanhilde.
Okay.
Am I saying her name right? Am I getting anyone's name
Swanhild.
right? Swanhilde. Okay.
I mean, Swanhilde is also correct, but I've been calling her Swanhild. It's fine.
I work with a lot of Germans.
Swanhild stays at the green at the Lord's Manor. So it's you basically just turn around and walk back.
Okay, that's fine.
You see the manor, and it has a very specific, like, A-frame triangular look to it with some weird looking chimneys. The front door is clearly bolted and blockaded. You know, it's like a double wide wooden door that must have a lock behind it. A log behind it. But the second floor has a solar where you can see a candlelight coming out. And you see a dragonborn woman reading. She sees your approach and opens the window and says, "What can I do for you, traveler?"
Well, I would like to discuss your encounter as well as our options. It seems our group did not come to a consensus.
Wait there. I'll open the doors and put something out. So she closes the window, and you hear the sound of someone struggling to remove a very heavy log. She opens the door, then moves over to the closest hearth along a long table, which is clearly the Lord's Hall, and breathes out a fire. It starts to get much warmer inside here. She says, "Please, I'm sorry, what was your name again?"
I go by Rodtang.
Rodtang. Do you need anything to eat? Perhaps some bread or maybe water or milk? We have a cellar.
Bread and water would be lovely, thank you.
Okay. Just wait here for a minute. The servants are asleep. So
well, if you're waking someone, no.
No, I'm going myself.
Oh, you much obliged.
So she comes back with like a charcuterie board of like cut sausages, and a little bit of mustard has been placed on the wood of the board, and some sliced bread, and a cold jug of water. She pours a glass for you and herself.
Well, this looks
Sir
quite
Torek
delicious. Thank you.
asked that all visitors be treated as guests of his. You of course stay the night here if you need, traveler. What can I do for you? You spoke of the meeting we just had, and as you're looking at her, she's a red dragonborn, but like she doesn't have eyebrows. She has ridges with scales, and you can see that some of them have been cracked and injured where someone has hit her, and it's kind of green and purpling right now.
If I may I ask about this?
How much did you hear from back there? I was hit by Justin the Unassailable, as he calls himself.
Yes, I'm curious about his numbers, or at least the numbers that you saw, and his overall strength as you would estimate it.
He claimed to have more with him. I only saw himself.
I see. So one man.
Perhaps. I don't know a lot about him. Others may know more.
Was he well equipped?
He had a sword, a great sword, and obviously a club and a horse, which he stole from me, and some very nice armor. In terms of combat skill, I'd say that Sir Torek would easily defeat him, but the blockader is gone. Will not be back for some time. It's been 6 years or more, I think.
And you still do not anticipate him back soon?
His letters have become more distant in their coming, less regular.
When was the last time you received one?
Several months. What is your interest in Sir Torek?
Well, I suppose I can tell you that I've been sent here by, I don't remember the name of the monastery I picked. The Golden Horse Monastery, to uncover the whereabouts of Sir Torek, or at least understand his strange disappearance.
You can certainly say you've arrived at where he began his journeys. He has been quested and has been continuing that quest for some time.
I see.
He is seeking the prophesied star-eyed dragon.
But I have any idea what that is.
You've never heard of it before, unless you make a nice religion check.
Religion.
You're a monk. You took religion, right?
Oh, yeah. Totally. -1.
No, you've never heard of it before.
I see.
I'm not familiar with the prophecy myself, but I understand that after speaking with the local priestess, he set off on this journey and has not returned since. Although he has gained great acclaim and glory and has gathered quite an admirable troop of warriors that accompany him.
Do you believe, is he in Saberhold?
No, he hasn't been in this area for many years.
I see.
If he was in Saberhold, we would simply need to send a messenger to him and he would return instantly. I think he may be many leagues away.
Do you believe those in Saberhold would support us now under this?
We pay our taxes, do we not? It is their filial duty to come and carry out the wishes of Sir Torek. Would you go then to Saberhold?
I have not been yet, no.
But would you go? If I were to give you a letter proclaiming Sir Torek's wishes, would you bring it to the guards and then lead them back?
If that is what it comes to, sure. But I must caution, should I be intercepted by Justin the Unassailable, these towns, or the villages' plans would be uncovered via the letter. Is that a risk you are willing to take?
Well, he's already coming anyway. You're right, this does require some thought. I could lend you a horse if you were good at riding, or if you thought it would aid you in some way.
A monk good at riding.
You have animal handling?
Surprisingly, it's a +3 because of wisdom. Yay.
Ooh. Ooh, look at Mr. Animal Handling over here. Mr. The skill nobody ever rolls, huh?
Yeah. No, that's nature. What are they saying? Critical Role? That's a dump stat. Everyone knows that.
I ask people to roll nature a surprisingly large amount of time.
Especially in Dinner in a Dungeon. That was rolled quite often. But okay. Let me ask you, Svanhild. What do you think is the best strategy? Is it to go to Saberhold and plead our case? Do you think one could get there and back with reinforcements within 3 days' time?
You asked two different questions.
I do.
I don't know what the best course of action is. I would say that what I consider the best course of action might be quite different than yours. You have your own way of doing things, your own skill set, which I know nothing of. I believe that going and speaking with the guards of Saberhold would be our best option. And breaking through there would be perhaps the only plan that we could have.
The only plan. So you believe strongly.
There are many ways to solve things that the town has taken different paths with, of course. I can't speak for all of them.
I understand.
What do you think is the best path? How would you approach this?
Well, I would still like to talk to Carol to understand her side of things, but presently,
I can tell you Carol's side of things is to make sure it doesn't cost her anything. I try not to speak too ill of the people of Mandelbrottsburg, but she is playing a dangerous game, risking the lives of drunkards.
Do you not think so? You would be willing, what I'm trying to say, you would be willing to sacrifice some freedoms if it meant everyone was safe.
What freedoms?
Well, you take the risk by, say, sending someone as myself. If I do not return in time, the houses could be burned, sacked, and you live
That is
under a
already
tenant.
on the table. Not sending you means that event will definitely happen.
It is a risk. At least
Yes.
with Carol's plan, there is a known defense.
I think it's clear I can't dissuade you from this. But these people are not warriors. People of Mandelbrottsburg are farmers that have held pitchforks and not war scythes. War spears and not war spears. I will see who I can gather, but out of the hundreds here, I think maybe only 4 or 5 may answer your call to risk your life.
Hundreds.
Farming is a difficult profession, and any injury on the battlefield could cripple someone for life.
Do me a favor and prepare your letter in case I need it.
Very well. She starts writing it out and presses in the seal of Sir Torek the Blockader.
Oh, she already wrote the whole thing? Dang. Okay.
Well, I mean, she's writing it in front of you right now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's only going to take like a minute. So we request your aid immediately. There is a bandit coming. Signed, the bailiff of Mandelbrottsburg.
All right. Then I guess I'll just take the letter and pocket it somewhere. And then finally go see Carol.
Okay.
Thank you,
So,
Swanhild.
in the bar, there is a sword on the wall behind the bartender. It looks to be some sort of injured old mercenary. He's got a peg leg. And he sees you when you come in and he nods. You don't have rogues can't, do you? Thieves can't, sorry.
No.
All right, so what he says to you sounds like this. Ah, mighty fine day we're having today, traveler.
It actually seems like quite a shit today.
The weather was fine, though. He sees you looking at Carol and says, Boss! Carol's like almost up to the second floor, and she turns around and heads sort of upsettedly towards you. He nods his head towards you and says, I think this gentleman here wants to speak to you, given the way he's staring at you.
You are
What do you
very
want?
observant. I wish to discuss your proposition that we discussed on the green.
She grabs the glass that the bartender is cleaning, puts it in front of you, and pours some beer into it. It looks like it's pretty weak. It's strong flavored, but it's free beer. So, you like my idea, do you?
I am conducting research across the village to determine the best path for everyone's safety.
A sage, huh? That's not exactly what I need.
I consider myself more of the monastery traditions. I'm a monk. Sizing up Carol, like, is this someone that looks like they can handle their own?
Carol is overweight, aged, kind of weak looking.
Perfect.
I would say previously we've described her as something like Sid from the Bad Batch. I would also accept a Florida condominium owner who, like, you know, owns like apartment landlord. Definitely not going to be fighting her own battles for sure.
Yeah, as soon as you said Sid, I was like, I know exactly what this person's like.
She's absolutely hunched over slightly at all times.
You have to do this to pay off your debts, and then you'll still owe me money.
Follow me, boys. Stop asking questions, glasses.
Come on, goggles. Man.
Yeah, she's a little like that, yes.
That makes me as a player, dislike her plan a ton.
What, you didn't think her plan to sacrifice a bunch of drunk people to kill one guy in order to save everybody money was going to be a glorious plan?
I mean, it sounds exactly like something Seth would do. So let me ask you. I was about to call her Sid. Let me ask you, Carol.
It's Carol.
Are these some of the folks you refer to that would defend us?
Do you gesture into the bar?
I'm just open to the room.
So the tavern has maybe a dozen people. They've gathered up into small groups. They're discussing the day's events somewhat politically, philosophically. A lot of people have gathered into groups that are all agreeing with each other. Some are gathered into not agreeing with each other. One group appears to be staying out of all of it and just drinking quietly.
What does that group look like?
You hear someone. Oh, what'd you say?
What does that group look like? The ones not
You
paying
think you
attention.
saw them standing with Raffin earlier?
The farmers.
Yes. I mean, almost everybody in here is a farmer. Although you do hear somebody slap somebody on the back and go, Johnson! He looks as if he's a farmhand as well.
Carpenter, yeah.
Yeah. Does carpentry in his spare time. Still a farmer.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody in here looks like they are trying to depress their worries with drink. Except for the ones sitting quietly and just drinking and eating alone. Raffin's group.
So it doesn't really look like there'd say a warrior amongst them other than perhaps that retired
The
mercenary.
bartender who's standing right next to Carol, Humbert, definitely a warrior. His level of mobility is greatly lessened by his peg leg. Is he still just as good with the sword? Is a question you can't answer, given that you've only seen him cleaning glasses.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have heard that just because you've lost part of a leg does not mean that you are truly disabled in any way.
Sure.
Yeah.
The rules for 5e where it's like was it permanent injury? We played with those in my last campaign. I had one eye, one arm, and one leg by the end.
You, Odin? Jesus.
It was brutal. Maybe not Humbert, but because I feel like he probably could hold us on. But I'd want to approach the next tier down of some that looks like they might be able to hold their own.
Johnson.
Sure, Johnson works.
Johnson.
Like, so Carol, does Johnson work? Is he one that you would have defend us?
One of several. I would offer free drinks to anyone that helped out for the week. Why? You thinking of getting involved?
I merely wish to assess the talent that we have. And I'd ask Johnson to stand up if he would.
Johnson,
politely. I'm not like trying to be an ass.
somewhat drunkenly stands up and says, yeah, what do you want?
Hit me.
Okay.
He just immediately tries to?
Yes.
Nice. Okay.
10 AC.
16.
Okay. I mean, he hits you. You just, not
Brush
enough
it
to
off.
hurt, right? Like you're like, ugh.
Again.
All right. So now he's like really, like you said, hit me, and he immediately hits you. But now he's like, okay. Like he gets back and he goes for like a power attack, like haymaker, and everybody's egging him on. They're like, yeah, Johnson, do it. Get that out of towner. 13.
Nope.
So again, he punches you in the face and you're just like, ugh, Wolverine. You just get back up. Doesn't really,
So there's actually a really good meme of the first guy that is my name's after Rod Tang, of him in like a MMA fight where he gets hit like 8 times in a row, and after he hits himself going, come on, hit me. And so I'm picturing that now, but that is enough, Johnson. I can see where your talents lie. And I'll go back over to Carol and say, I think I've seen enough.
Yeah, you're impressed?
Yes, I feel our village is now in good hands.
Okay, do you need to roll deception here?
I guess I am
Are you lying?
implying that I do not like her idea, and
Okay.
I have changed my strategy from what we talked about pre-show.
Please
So I
roll
guess
deception.
deception. Oh, +0.
All right. You fooled her, but Humbert catches your eye and it's clear that he understands what you're saying.
Does he seem to care?
He's willing to wait here. He's willing to wait Carol out to speak with you privately if you're willing to do that.
Oh yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So
The
Carol
one other
is just
person
like,
who knows how to fight.
Carol busts away and goes upstairs, and she's just like, "Yep, I can't wait to defeat these bandits. We're gonna get all of their stuff and divide it up amongst the town." Humbert looks at you frankly and says, "Seems like maybe you're not enamored with that plan."
Well, I've heard many things this evening, and one is true. Everyone here is a farmer, not a fighter, except maybe yourself.
Been a long time since I've taken up the sword for anything but practice. Still works though.
What do you know of this Justin the Unassailable?
I've heard a bit. From down south, used to work for a roguish organization of thieves, gangsters. Got kicked out, took his gang with him. He's been losing members and gaining new ones ever since then. Traveling further north. Didn't think he'd come this way. Must have been a hard trip over the mountains. Some appearances say he only shows up by himself, others with a handful of people. It's hard to tell. It's rare that he ever needs to commit direct violence. Most people just give him what he needs to send him on his way. He's asking for a lot this time around, though.
I do not believe if we were to add all the gold in this village up, I do not believe we could meet his demand.
Look, I'll be honest, we could probably send him away with a couple horses and maybe some bags of grain. But
You would reason with him.
no, there's an opportunity here for you and me tonight. He glances back at his sword and leans in quietly and says, he knows that these farmers are just going to be sitting around talking because that's what farmers do. They plan long term. There's no warriors here. He won't be expecting you and I to hit him in the middle of the night. We kill him, we take his stuff.
You may have his stuff. I have no interest in his belongings. I only wish to keep the people safe.
He
What if he is not alone?
Yeah, so he takes the sword off of the wall mount and says, so what if he's not alone? We're hitting them in the middle of the night. We're taking them when they're most confident and we're most competent.
See, if I were Cosmo right now, I'd be like, yeah, it's totally a good idea. Right? Going into the woods at night, trying to sneak up with a dude in a peg leg.
So he outlines the plan that is to charge in on horses, arrive in the middle of whatever camp he has, and just cause chaos. He says, I don't know if you fought on the battlefield before, but chaos is an ally. They'll be unarmed and unarmored. We'll catch them while they're coming out of sleep. They'll be confused, weak, easy to defeat, and divide. Our horses are going to give us a mobility advantage. And he taps his sword against his peg leg. This won't matter as much. We fight above them, from the horses, fight down. Gives us every possible advantage against Justin. And any allies he might have. And things go wrong, we get out quick.
Are you willing to die for this village?
I'm willing to die for a big pile of gold he's got on him and all of his equipment. I fought a lot of battles, friend. I'm no slouch hand, and I can see that you're not quite like any other. You've got the walk of you of someone who's actually got some skill. I think we can take him quickly, quietly, before anybody else notices.
I'll shake his hand.
Okay.
Tell me, is there one in the village who specializes in mixtures, poisons?
It's so interesting that you say that. He pulls out several vials from underneath the bar and says, As a matter of fact, there is.
It's him?
Yeah.
Would you mind lending some to the cause? I have some darts that I feel this would be helpful with.
As long as you wear gloves on your fingers.
To that we can agree.
Okay. I will lend you some of his poisons.
Sweet.
So it gives you enough poison for 3 darts.
Okay.
All right, so his plan is to get you to borrow horses from Swanhild, and the two of you ride off into the night and defeat it before any problems happen, and gather up anything Justin may have. Because, you know, he took some horses, and this guy would love to just claim them and go.
Claim them and go as in, like, not come back to the village?
Well, claim them for himself, you know what I mean? Battle spoils.
He wouldn't return them to. I guess that's not my problem.
Yeah, so you're right. It's not your problem.
Not lawful good, lawful neutral.
Look, alignments are words, right? What your character would do is not defined by those 2 words.
No, I gotcha.
Those words are more useful at higher levels when there are spells that directly interact with those kind of tags.
I don't think I've ever made it past like level 12. So
I honestly think that law and chaos were way more interesting in the first edition, where they were languages that you could speak to one another. So lawful people could identify themselves. And nowadays, that's still true, right? People use languages like SJW would definitely be a straight up chaos one. That's
true. All right, well,
code words and dog whistles, right? That, for me, is what law and chaos, good and evil, really mean. It's how you view the world, not necessarily how you act. I know that's a weird stance to take, but
you've got some interesting people on your Patreon group that have very strong opinions on alignment. I don't even know how we got in that topic, but
alignment is weird, man. I feel like it's a super outdated concept in D&D.
I'm trying to think what was the example that someone kept going through with me is in Game of Thrones, right? The priest, the king behind the wall who kept giving all the sons to the Icemen. What's his alignment? What if he was a priest? Does that change his alignment? And we went through like 5 scenarios, and I was like, all right, I can kind of see this, but you can almost argue it any way, I think, at a certain point. But anyways, I'm trying to think. Would there be anyone, I highly doubt it in this village, but anyone who like sells like health potions? I doubt it.
No, there's no general store here.
So I figured. Okay. Then I will probably go back to Arda and just not tell her what I'm doing, but just tell her to keep to her plan. Take the children, bring them to the church in like 2.5 days time.
Secret.
And I'm going to keep that letter on me just in case.
The letter to Saberhold for the guards. Okay.
Yes. In case something goes really, really south, like we're riding up there and both get shot and dies instantly. I'll just keep going.
You're human, right?
Yes.
So the only light you have during this midnight ride is a small thieves' lantern, which is a lantern that only projects light in one direction, in this case forward, attached to his horse. So it's kind of a real bumpy ride, the light going back and forth. So I would like you to make 2 rolls. The first will be a animal handling, and the second will be a perception, and both of these will be at disadvantage. Ooh, that's a good first roll.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Okay, there we go. All right, now give me that perception.
Perception.
Also at disadvantage. Okay, 14.
That's
so
animal
you
handling.
have an opportunity here. You see, he's described to you where he believes that Justin the Unassailable is during your ride down. He thinks that Justin will be at a sort of traveler's waypoint for those who can't make it quite all the way from Saberhold in one night. It's like a volcanic caldera, but much, much smaller. It's like a hill that comes up and then dips down, so the travelers stay in the dip down, so that if they set fires and stuff, the light won't leak in every direction.
Yeah,
It'll only
makes
go up.
sense.
As you're approaching that location, you see traps. You see what you're like, hey, whoa, and that flash of light as it passed over that area, someone clearly wove a grass net, and that is a pit right ahead of us.
Do I have any way of signaling?
The bigger question is, you have no ability to control your horse at this point. At the speed that you're riding, you're almost there. You have the option of going down with the horse, in which case you might be able to do something with the horse, or you can jump off now and the horse will slide in and you will safely land outside the pit.
Oh man, so do I try to save the horse that this comes down to?
I mean, the horse is going in one way or another. You've already failed the roll. But the question is, do you help the horse back out? Is like, if the horse is in the pit and you're not in the pit, getting the horse out is going to be pretty difficult.
Yes.
Interacting with the horse in any way becomes,
and it's probably going to make a shitload of noise, and we're close enough that they'll notice.
Yep.
So then, man, I feel like a bad human. Sorry, horse. I'm jumping off.
Okay. You jump off at the last second. The momentum slides you to the edge of the pit. The horse goes in. You hear a leg break, and it begins making a lot of noise. And you hear someone mutter something in Dwarvish. You speak Dwarvish?
No, Elfish.
Okay. Your boy continues riding forward. His horse leaps over one of the pits, and you hear him hit some sort of line in the trees, like a rope set between two of them, and he gets knocked off the horse. The horse keeps going into the pit, and you hear someone in Dwarvish go, whoa, whoa. Yeah, at this point, he just cries out, and he's just like, make as much noise as you can. We have to get in there, traveler. And he's like trying to struggle it up with his
peg leg.
Yeah, just like death to Justin.
So
battling chaos.
His whole thing is to try to intimidate them out. Huh? Oh boy.
What are you going to do? You're about 60 feet away from the edge of the pit when you see a sort of squat dwarvish figure backlit by the glow of the fires. You think you see the shadow of a crossbow in their hands, and then the figure turns towards you, and your ability to see the crossbow disappears. You're pretty sure he's pointing it right at you. What do you do?
I would like to run, not yelling, not making a ton of noise, but just run at a 45-degree angle at him. So kind of like when my camera's up there, like that.
All right. What's
like
your movement speed?
Well, as a level 1 monk, it ain't that great.
I don't know if you have the dash thing. I don't know if that's a monk thing yet, or
not.
If it's
I don't think I haven't unlocked that yet. So I think it's 30. Yeah.
So are you single moving or are you double moving using your action?
Range is 20. Single. No, double. Sorry.
So you can move 60 feet then?
Yes.
You get all the way up to him at the edge of the lip. All right. You get all the way up to him, and he's got the crossbow there. He's like trying to aim at you. You're zigzagging. He's like, huh, huh. You finally get up in his face, and he just like tries to stalk hit you with the crossbow before letting. He basically like tosses it at you.
Okay.
So let's roll that, and then we'll roll initiative.
Okay.
No. All right.
That misses.
Now let's roll initiative. And some like totally 8-bit music starts playing, like oh, that might be Pokemon actually.
Pokemon Stadium.
Okay, you definitely go first. All right, so you see that he has knives, and now that you're at the lip, you see a human male who is not armored next to a giant bucket helm that is almost certainly Justin the Unassailable, struggling to wake up. Like he's like, oh, what's going on? There is a second dwarf who is pulling out 2 knives and moving to attack your boy. So you're like battling on one side of the lip of this sphere, and he's battling on the other side. And The guy in front of you is about to pull out 2 knives. The 2 dwarves are speaking to each other in Dwarvish.
If
It's
I were
weird
to try
because
to,
I've done
how
this
far
scene
away
so
is-
many times now. It's so weird.
but everyone's done the same path.
No.
I was gonna say, holy smokes!
There are several people who've done it differently, but there are like almost half of the people have arrived at this specific moment where you're fighting one of the dwarves at the edge of the lip, and someone is on the other side.
I guess that means the barkeep's really persuasive if everyone's taking this path.
Maybe not quite. I think
how
you'll be
far-
surprised at how the other storylines play out at the very least.
How far is Justin from the center? I guess from me.
Justin's probably about 10 feet from you. And he's definitely super murderable right now. I mean, he's prone and waking up, no armor, no weapons. I mean, he could get to the greatsword, but he'd be lying on the ground.
I will go ahead and I'll accept an attack and opportunity to go after Justin. And
Is that a thing in 5e?
attacks of opportunity?
Oh, it is. Yeah, you use a reaction to do it. You're right.
Yeah.
He's gonna.
And so I'm gonna go after Justin.
Oh, he doesn't have anything in his hands because he hasn't drawn the daggers yet. Oh no! The dwarf
Cuts himself.
lines up. He's trying to go for the knives with both hands. You go past him. He tries to trip you, and in the process is you like step on his foot. He's like, ah! All right.
As I'm running over, I would like to prepare. Actually, I don't know if I can do this all at once. Try to take one of the darts and get some poison on it.
That it's going to take a lot longer than what you're doing right now.
I
We can
probably
say
should
that
have done
they
it
were
beforehand.
pre-prepared. If you
I definitely should have done it beforehand.
Yeah.
So if I'd like to use a poisoned dart to try
Absolutely.
to get
Go ahead.
Justin.
Are you throwing it at him in melee or as you approach? Because you actually roll at disadvantage if you're trying to melee throw it at him.
I guess while I'm running at him, I would throw it. Is that a thing you can do?
Sure. I don't see any reason why not.
All right. Hey.
All right. Roll for damage, and I will roll for his constitution check. Click open the web page. You heard about on Critical Role. It's D&D.
I can't believe this extension exists, and I didn't know it because I kept complaining
It's really
for the
good,
longest
right?
time that I had to figure out how to make my my D&D Beyond character exactly like it is in Roll20, and I'd always miss something somewhere.
Okay, so this guy has a Constitution save of +2. He definitely saves against the poison and takes 6 damage. Okay, he looks slightly injured as it hits him. Ah!
Okay,
He pulls
If
it out and sees that there's poison dripping in between his blood, and he's just like, "Well met, traveler, you son of a whore."
There's more where that came from.
Okay. Let me just see how things go for
My boy.
yeah, they're battling it out pretty well. Doesn't seem like they're getting any headway, but the two of them are sword to 2 knives in each other. And the dwarf that you've ignored behind you comes up and definitely stabs you in the back. Yes.
That'll definitely hit.
You take 3 points of damage as he gets a knife in there.
All right. I'm at 6 HP.
Justin begins scrambling for his greatsword and standing up. He will complete that next turn.
Okay.
He's basically fighting in a loincloth. Go ahead.
I'm okay with that. So now that the dwarf is next to me again, a ranged attack would be at disadvantage.
Yeah. Don't think next to you. He's behind you.
Yeah.
He scraped the back of your armor and some of the bleed went through. And you're like, ah.
God,
Oh, you're a monk. You're probably not wearing any armor.
No, I'm not.
And probably you sense the attack coming and he got a bear graze on you. But you know how it is, right? When your adrenaline's pumping, you're using all your
don't feel
muscles,
it.
like you sprain yourself while you're doing it too. You know, your luck is running out.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go for Justin again. I'm gonna take the opportunity attack again and go after Justin and try to hit him with the quarterstaff and then
Get
an unarmed
advantage?
strike. Say it again, sorry.
You get advantage because he's prone.
Oh, okay. Do you want to take your opportunity attack?
From who?
The dwarf behind me.
Oh, I thought you threw the dart and then ran into melee with Justin. Did you stop before you got to him?
Oh no, okay, no, that works then. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I mean, that's what I intended to do.
I thought you were standing over Justin menacingly.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, you don't need to go anywhere. Just
Nice.
roll at advantage. I assume you're using flurry of blows as well.
I don't have that yet. As level 1.
Really? At level 1?
Nope.
Interesting.
That's
right.
a level 2.
All right, roll for the damage on the 24. Are you using it one or two-handed?
What? That makes no sense. My two-handed would have done less. Man. Well, I had the dart out, so I'm going to go ahead and say
one-handed. Okay.
One-handed.
I'll buy that. I'll buy it. So 9 points of damage. All right,
then,
he's bleeding now. She hit him in the face.
Then, as a bonus action, I can do one unarmed strike.
Sure.
You get that at monk level 1.
Sure.
Still at advantage.
Yep.
Oh yeah. 5 more damage.
You kick him in the face. He's just like, There's like blood going from like the side of his eye down into his teeth. And like now he's smiling and it's bloody red as he stands up with the greatsword out, and he's like, "You made a mistake, kid."
If he's smiling, that probably makes Rodtang smile because he likes dangerous combat.
All right. So next turn, Justin will be attacking. For now. Oh no! Oh
my boy.
You're watching this out of the corner of your eye as the bartender Humbert is and then the dwarf kicks him in the peg leg. The peg leg goes out and brings the second dagger down on his back into the shoulder. Humbert goes face down into the ground, and it's clear that without immediate aid, he's probably going to get executed. Meanwhile, the dwarf that's still behind you runs. Well, he doesn't have to move anywhere, right? Yep, he stabs you again.
That'll do.
This could be bad for you.
This could be the end.
7 points of damage.
I'm down. Yeah, I'm at. Why did that not go? Well, I'm at -1. I'm down.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a death saving throw, and better hope you get a 20.
Where is that on these sheets?
Just roll a d20.
Okay. That's a pass.
Rodtang Buakaw. The last thing you see in the flickering embers, your hands stretched out towards Humbert. Humbert, trying to struggle his way towards you, gets knifed in the back of the head. And you hear a noise that sounds a lot like a greatsword being heaved to a great height, and someone says, "It's nothing personal."
Probably shouldn't have kept the letter on me. Village fail.
Actually, you succeed in your mission.
Why?
You may have died, but you have completed the scenario, Dynamis. And for this reason that I'm about to explain to you, anytime Justin is attacked unexpectedly, he immediately retreats. He doesn't know if there's more attacks coming. He didn't expect this level of resistance. He's looking for weaker, easier prey.
How hurt was he?
He had 32 hit points, and you managed to knock off 17, I believe.
Holy smokes! Okay.
I mean, that is a CR 1/2 opponent.
All right. Well, I guess credit goes to Humboldt for his ideas. What saved us, no matter what the outcome was.
Some of people, I think, didn't even make it to the Justin fight. They just died to the traps. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
You definitely should watch the others. I think everyone took a slightly different path. I think you'll like Canes the most, though.
Okay. Did anyone not like fight?
Oh, did anyone not fight? I believe the answer to that is technically yes, depending on your point of view.
Because if the whole Humboldt conversation didn't happen, my plan was to send everyone to the church and take Rodtang and go to get reinforcements. But as soon as Humboldt was like, "Oh, we can take him," I was like, I realized I should have done an insight check, because as you were leading me to the pit, I was like, "Oh my god, this dude's gonna turn me in and say, oh, look out for the trap that you just fell in."
No, Humboldt was ride or die with you, bro. Humboldt has an alternate story where if you answer his thieves can't, he tries to convince you to rob Carol and leave with all the money before the attack happens.
Yeah, the fact that he was so into money, I was like, this was a bad idea. But oh well.
As this is the last episode, I feel like I should mention that this village is like a libertarian hellhole where everybody's like, yeah, we could do that, but that will cost money. And I don't have a lot of money. Do you have money? This guy will just go away as long as we don't provoke him, right? Maybe we should just give him a few things. And
that's funny.
Oh man, listen.
Save the village, though.
You'll like James's run as well. James did something a little different. You and James had similar ideas. What I'll say. Grim dark James.
How many other people went in with Humboldt?
I don't remember exactly, but I think it's 3.
Dang. Okay.
Cool. It was a popular choice.
I just remember in one of you mentioned probably to Spoon that someone like jumped right in, was in combat, and it ended like super fast. And I was like,
it was Kane. It was Kane.
Oh, really? I was like, did he not like talk to any villagers?
That's so funny. Oh, well, boy.
Should make Fallout interesting if he sticks in our group.
Well, listen, you've seen him play Kyle, right?
Yeah.
He's playing a character. He's playing a different character.
Yeah. If it wasn't like a one-shot thing, I totally was going to make a warlock, but I was like, this is so much effort to figure out how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. But I should have gone for my token wizard. You can see in the dark and just create fire like this.
It's interesting. You were supposed to be the first scenario, and you ended up being the last one. Crazy.
And I chose a totally different character because of the timing. If we went right before I left for vacation, I was totally going to be a wizard.
Well, how did you feel about playing a solo game? Because obviously combat worked quite differently.
Yeah, it's it's kind of like Solaris Knights a little bit, where
it's very difficult to kill Justin, although he's not impossible to defeat. You definitely provoked him into acting early. You know what I mean? Like, you went up against him and left a threat at your back that was the guy that defeated you.
Yep. But it's certainly different. I've never done a one-on-one style before, especially for 5e. But I think some of my previous characters came from suggestions from your channel, even though it's Pathfinder, the dude with the 15-foot arms.
Oh, Aberrant Blood Ragers? Yeah.
Yes.
I was happy to teach you that particular trick.
So I usually sway in one of two directions, either super combat focused like that, or a super nerdy wizard that just has like trinket spells that don't actually provide any help in combat. So
it's okay. Some people play that way. You don't have to be combat focused. There were more than just killing Justin ends to this scenario.
Yeah.
I would have been interested if you had stuck to your guns and actually formed the militia. So
yeah, if I had serious.
No one went to the church. No one went to the church. So
yeah.
I just want to say for the people at home, the church has its own storyline where the priestess declares that you are the starry-eyed dragon, and that if you go into a secret dungeon underneath
she gives you that weapon.
She gives you a magical weapon, and you get blessed by the gods to get like +1 hit point and advantage on Constitution saving throws and dark vision.
That would have been nice.
It's like a Dragon Quest Final Fantasy. You're the chosen hero to defeat Justin kind of thing.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. When I reread the scenario yesterday, I was like, this mention of a secret weapon at the end, some holy weapon. Nah, it's not gonna be the church. Fuck that. Like I literally had that thought, and I was like, the church
100% at the church. No one took that storyline. No one went to go see the Western Elves either. It was really interesting how everyone chose scenarios, and some of the endings were quite similar, and others were very different.
Cool. Yeah, I can't wait to watch.
I thought this was a good exercise.
Well, they all pretty short, kind of like this.
One of them was like almost 2 hours long, I think. Let me look here. Most of them are roughly, so the video file size is what I'm looking at. Most of them are almost the same size.
That makes sense.
I think Dave's might have been the longest, Enley's.
Chatting up some NPCs.
Kind of.
Cool. Yeah, I'll certainly watch them all. It's gonna be funny because that, Solaris Knights comes out like rapid fire, so I feel like I have to keep up with that. And all of a sudden, you're gonna release a bolus of these. I'm like, oh shoot.
So I mean, Solaris Knights ends this week more or less, and then we have like a 2-week break, and I'm gonna be releasing Fractal during that break. I just have to make the intro video for it, and then it'll be ready to drop probably next week. So
awesome, good timing.
All right, I'm really tired.
Well then,
we did 2-hour long Hillbilly episode right before this for Solaris Knights, so it was.
He's an entertaining character.
I like the idea that your character lost, but your player won this war here, because you're certainly not the only one who had that outcome.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, when you said, well, you still won the scenario, I was like, yeah, that's possible. He's dead, but okay. But no, it makes sense. Bigger picture.
Just any attacking Justin, surprisingly, is enough to force him off.
Wow. Well, why didn't we send one of the useless drunks? I mean,
probably because you're a lawful, neutral, morally upstanding individual.
There you go.
All right. Thank you for joining me, Dunamis. And thank you, audience, for your support of Fractal. Let me know in the comments how you thought all the runs were. And maybe which one was your favorite. Talk to us on Discord. Let the cast know how they did. Have a good afternoon.
See ya.